If you guys are ready, I'm gonna start admitting people.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Dahi.
Hello. We'll be starting around 5 minutes after the scheduled time. I was gonna say 10 of 5, and I realized that everyone is in different time zones. We'll be starting very soon, guys. We're just waiting for a few more people to join us. And when you guys have any questions during the presentation, just use the chatting section, and I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. And this meeting is being recorded, so if you do not want to be on the record, simply put your camera off. All right, I think we can get it started now. Thank you everyone for being here. I see some of the familiar faces and I see some of you guys that I haven't met yet. And just a quick question to answer before we begin. This playlist is called Manhattan Street Jazz Pop on YouTube, because Casey just asked. All right, so for those who haven't met me, my name is Dahi, and I'm the one who started UX Rescue and who's currently running UX Rescue, some other amazing volunteers. So for those who are not familiar with what UX Rescue is, I am gonna introduce UX Rescue briefly. So before I begin, we are currently accepting donation for the Volunteer Corps Nepal organization, which is the organizations that we'll be talking about today. And you can donate through the link right here. And you can just simply mention VCN and I will donate all the VCN related donation to them. All right, so what is UX Rescue? UX Rescue is an initiative that empowers UX practitioners to create social impact together. So what we do is we bring amazing skills that UX practitioners have, such as problem solving, empathy, design thinking, and research to make the social impact together. And how did we start? It started from the question that I had in the back of my head while I've been working as a UX researcher in the industry, which is a question that asked me, am I really making an impact? So this question followed me basically the whole time that I've been working as a UX researcher. And then as I've been working in fitness company, tourism company, and now at an e-commerce company, I realized that the answer is a no. And when the COVID hit, and I, fortunately and unfortunately got more time in my hands, and a lot of people was in the same situation. That's when I realized that there are so many people out there who are going through the same question, who are having the same questions that I was having, and there are also so many people doing the case studies, or so many people who need something for their portfolio. So I thought, why don't I just bring them all together? So that's what I did. And now we have 3 main goals as an initiative, which is social impact, impact, and design awareness. How we are doing this right now is we do this by connecting volunteers with organizations that are in need. And next steps that we are trying to do is we are trying to help UX practitioners initiate their own projects, because I know that deep down we have so many things that we are truly, truly passionate about. So we'll be helping you initiate those projects by supporting with the process and resources. And then after that, we are hoping to expand globally. So I can't do this alone. So I have this beautiful 6 co-parents who are helping me in all different areas. And we are always looking for relatives to be our family and help us create social impact at UX Rescue. So that's a little brief introduction about UX Rescue. And I'm gonna hand it over to our VCN project team. And VCN project is a very special project to me and to UX Rescue, because VCN was the very first project. So we had, as you know, we had a lot of learnings. Almost most of things didn't go as planned, and it turned out even better, or it turned out to be a great learning opportunities. So keep that in mind when you're listening to the presentation. And I hope you guys enjoy the presentation. And like I said earlier, if you have any questions, just leave it on the group chat and we will get back to them after the presentation. All right. I will stop share and Hak, Elle, are you guys planning to share?
Okay, hold on, let me share. Okay. Can everybody see this?
Yep. Yeah. Okay, great. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone from all the different time zones. Thank you for taking time out to listen to us share about Project VCN. So we're all here together to create impact, positive impact, right? So as a starter, who is UX Rescue? You've just heard a little bit about it from Dahi, and who is VCN? So VCN is Volunteer Corps Nepal, and it is a nonprofit humanitarian and development organization that has been instrumental in providing disaster relief efforts through a strong volunteer network. So why did the three of us join UX Rescue? We were hoping that we could use our UX skills to make a positive social impact. So what's a better way than to work with nonprofit organizations? Helping nonprofits solve these problems or improve their offerings will have a positive ripple effect for the communities that they serve. Plus, this community provides a great way to use our skill sets to give back. So let's start from the beginning of Project VCN. We kicked off the first client meeting with Deepak, who's the guy that you see here. He's the founder of VCN, and we sought to understand what the goals of VCN were, what they needed help with, what we could do to help them achieve those goals. There were three main concerns that Deepak highlighted. The first one was that there was not enough donations to support their various humanitarian efforts. Second was that there were the important relevant information was quite difficult to find or locate on the website. And finally, the current UI and brand does not align with a potential VCN expansion, because Deepak mentioned that they wanted to open up different centers in other countries so that they can reach more people in need. So over here, we're going to have our first key learning point, which is to always have a project plan. A project plan helps to keep everyone on the same page regarding project goals, timelines, deliverables, etc. So it's really good to have an overview of what you're going to have so that everyone has an idea of what's going on. The second key learning point is that sometimes you won't have access to stakeholders and they may not be in the process at all, even if you need them. So you'll have to guesstimate their needs and provide for it.
Great. Thanks, Elle. So I'm Aisha. I was the UX researcher on this project. So we'll now talk about the process and the activities that we took to finish this. So we conducted surveys, content audit, competitive analysis, card sorting, and tree testing. And I'll go over the rationale behind why we chose these activities as well. So let's move on. Yeah. So we set out surveying users who donated and or volunteered to understand their motivations behind doing so. So what made them want to volunteer or donate? So the outcomes of these surveys was that, we needed to clearly highlight the mission and the vision behind a specific charity. We needed to increase the transparency and credibility of the charity as well, and a clear call to action. All of these combined would work together to guide visitors to donate and or get involved with the charitable organization. So yeah, next. So we also conducted a content audit because the website was already out there. There was a lot of content on it. So we needed to understand what the site already had and to understand which pages might be excess and which pages could be combined to simplify the information architecture, because we thought it was just quite busy, the existing website. So then we set out doing a competitive analysis of a few other specifically emergency response charity websites. So this helped us gather best practices, gave us an insight onto how they manage their information architecture, what kind of language they might use, etc. So we also did card sorting and tree testing. So the card sort and tree test exercise gave us the data we needed to come up with categorizing the information architecture, which was helpful when it came to decluttering the main menu options as well. So we knew where to put things, how users naturally related different items, how they group things together, and whether a path that we had in our minds was actually the same kind of thought process that users would go through. So we were able to validate all this through card sorting and tree testing. Yeah. So the main learning here is that research can be tricky. Convincing someone new to the UX process that research is a necessity can be very tricky. So this was very true in our case when visual deliverables were more of what the client was expecting to see. So they had no background of what the UX process actually is like, no previous exposure to it, very development-oriented process, I think, that they took to make the first website. So what we learned was that you may not be able to conduct as many research activities as you may have deemed necessary, or for as long as you may have deemed necessary, and you may have to bridge the gaps where needed. But all that matters in the end is that you have the client's product, you leave the client's product with an improved experience that meets their goals as well as their users. So yeah, take shortcuts where you can, but still try to keep that goal in mind. Yeah.
So I realized that I forgot to introduce myself. I jumped a bit ahead just now. I apologize. I'm Elle. I'm the UX writer for this project. So that's why you see this slide here on UX writing. So the goal of UX writing is to craft copy that helps and guides the user along the website. It's very important for this text to be clear, concise, and useful. What you're seeing now are some screen grabs of how or what the copy looks like on the older version of the website. From our research, we gathered that it was important for visitors to the website to easily understand who VCN is, what their mission, vision, and approach are, as well as to establish trust. In order to establish trust, it was important for visitors to the site to have a clear idea of who VCN is, their beginnings, the work that they've done and are working on, partners, etc. So what you see now on the left is the older version of the VCN introduction/about us page. We have identified the key pieces of information from the chunk of paragraphs that you see. We've ran it through with Deepak to understand the factuality and recrafted it to a hopefully simpler, more concise version. So we have also consolidated and tidied up the mission, vision, and approach sections, which is what you can see right now on the right side. The right side's the new one. So together with the redesign, the sections definitely made more of an impact for the user while scrolling. With the extensive amount of information being exchanged and discussions, it's vital that the contents of these meetings and findings are regularly documented. So this is where another key learning point is for us. So it helps to keep it helps to keep these documents organized in a shared folder among your team members so that everyone can work on it at the same time. They're on the same page, no confusion around what was discussed and the outcome, if any. Progress can be tracked, and this would be a great supporting document for your project plan that we've mentioned earlier.
Okay, so now, sorry. Oh, can you? Okay, sorry. Can everyone hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So hi, I'm Hak. So I'm the UX designer in this team, and we are most clients focus on the design part. So, okay. So with the research that we've done and the reworking of the content of the website, we're going to show you a few key screens and components of the redesign. But before we get into that, our client actually, during an early meeting, mentioned that there were 40,000 local NGOs in Nepal. So that's an insane amount of NGOs operating, if you think about it. So I think one of the concerns that we had was like, with the research that we have, um, how might we actually differentiate VCN so they stand out among 39,999 NGOs, and also more importantly, build a relationship of trust with visitors so that they know that their donations are accounted for and it's used for a good cause. So we decided to focus on three things. So we decided to focus on clarity, credibility, and the impact on the website. So let's first talk about clarity. So this is how the previous homepage looked. So our Deepak, the clients, mentioned that majority of the people who actually access the website come from their Facebook page, which they are really active in posting their day-to-day pictures of their most recent efforts. Like how the donations are being used and all that. So then naturally they'll get curious and they'll click on the link to go to the website. But the website itself, as you can see here, there isn't really much there isn't really like helpful prompts to actually point the visitors to where they can find the relevant information that they need to know about VCN. So here's the redesign. So as Aisha has mentioned, like the information architecture has been totally been streamlined. So that includes the sitemap as well. So all they can see here is about us, our work, volunteers, and appeals. So then the main call to action would be to make a donation, and also the secondary one would be to apply for volunteers. So simply put, we just at the moment the visitor gets here, they see your health matters. So and all the actions that they can take on the homepage above the fold, like learning about VCN, viewing their work, experiencing volunteering, and helping with the appeals are all above the fold. So that makes it a lot clearer for the visitors. And also, in terms of the drop-down menu, so we've actually added a bit more context to each link. So we provided a relevant image and a one-liner to actually further highlight, the kind of information you will receive as you go into the link. So like so to remove any doubt on what they're going to see when they land up on that particular page. So, and then now we talk about credibility. So so this is the responsive website of the redesign. So we actually catered to all three different breakpoints: the desktop version, the tablet view, and the mobile view. So previously in the previous website, there were a lot of unnecessary like micro interactions. Like the gallery page, if you click on the thumbnail, it starts rotating 360 degrees. The banners has some weird like transitions into the next panel. So what we wanted to do was to actually keep the design patterns clean and consistent across all breakpoints. To signal that the organization actually does really care about their offerings as well. And there was another reason. So because we couldn't have access to stakeholders, especially the development team, we actually created three different prototypes of basically the three different different views. So like it's really clear for them like on how exactly to implement this the design patterns and how they actually work in the context of each viewpoint. So so we're gonna talk about the donation, how visitors can actually donate. And yeah, so so the strange thing about the donations is that in Nepal, due to some government regulations, people outside of Nepal cannot actually make transfers into Nepalese banks via online payment methods. So this is currently the way that visitors can make the money transfers if they wanted to. So VCN provides the banking details that they have, the information so that visitors could actually make bank transfers. But so because of this restriction, right? So at the very least, we try to make sure that people actually. Oh, oops. Oh, okay. So yeah, so previously, like they had a similar donation model window. If you click on the donation button, a model will come up, but it was so bare, like it didn't really inspire confidence in people actually donating. So we reworked the content writing so that when people actually click on the donation link, they know why the VCN needs the donations, what the donations will be used for, and who will benefit from these donations. And after you've actually made the transfer, you can there are some simple instructions so that the visitors who donate actually get confirmation that their donations have been received, yeah, which wasn't in the previous website. And then the second thing I want to cover is actually a dedicated theme section that they in the About Us page. So previously, you had to access 4 different pages just to find out the different members of VCN. So we wanted to streamline that and put them all in the same page and easily accessible as well. And also to include the profile pictures, the names, and a short description of their role in VCN and what they do. So there's at least some accountability involved. And if people do want to check on the credentials or anything, like it's there, for them to see. And also on a related note, okay, so one of the main concerns that LS mentioned just now was that VCN was thinking of expanding to different locations. So currently they're just only based in Nepal. So in line with the redesign of the website, they wanted a brand refresh as well. So on the left you'll see the before, or rather the current logo. And on the right, it's a modern, cleaner take of the identity, but it it also lends itself to be adaptable. So in case they ever expand to, excuse me, other continents or other countries, they can easily adapt the identity without losing that VCN brand. So yeah, okay. So then the last thing we'll talk about is impact. Um, So right below the fold in the homepage, visitors will actually see the most urgent appeals that VCN needs help with. So previously, like in their appeals page, they had the formatting of the appeals was inconsistent. There were appeals that had no donation goals. There were appeals with no descriptions. So we propose having in terms of content structure, we propose showing the name of the appeal, the donation goal that they intend to have to reach, and the current amount. So at least people know exactly how much that they are getting for each appeal, and a description of what that appeal is about, and a direct link to donate if they will choose to do so. So this is, I think, pretty helpful, and secondly, okay, because given the current situation that we have right now, we propose showing the impact that VCN has made for the communities in Nepal with regards to COVID-19. So we actually requested them to give us some numbers so that we can showcase on the homepage as well. Like the number of masks they've been distributing, like prevention kits for COVID-19, and household support that they supported, so that viewers have a much better idea of where the efforts have, where they've put their efforts into, at least for the current situation. And lastly, okay, so we'll talk about their previous, their past efforts page. So previously they had, again, they had 4 different pages if you wanted to find out what they've done in the past. So like they had a appeals page, they have a reports page, a success stories page, a image gallery page, and sorry, hold on. Yeah. Yeah, image galleries page, success page, a latest news page, and a reports page. So we've decided to streamline that and from validation of the tree testing, we found out that past efforts page, to unify all these previous pages together, will make it easier to actually showcase all the work that they've done. And we categorize it based on volunteering efforts, donation efforts, and emergency disaster services efforts. So yeah, so there's a few key learnings here. So the first for design especially is to expect the unexpected. So this was especially true for the donations. So that kind of caught us off guard that like we didn't know like a country wouldn't allow people to actually make online payments from outside. Um, yeah, at the governmental level. So so we had to work around. Um, um, so we had to be prepared to find workarounds for this. So sometimes due to the regulations, you will not be able to implement the ideal situation, and I think uh, that's something you have to be prepared for, basically. And then lastly, change does actually happen. So initially, when the client first came in, uh, he was really apprehensive, and all he wanted was just essentially just a logo design and and some help with the social media, because at that point in time, his development team was doing both the design and the development work. So slowly, I guess over time, like first we had to convince him of the value of research first, and then I think he actually started opening up once we sent him a document, a simple document actually, based on proposed recommendations from our competitive analysis and our content audit. So from there, then he started getting more receptive, and then eventually he bought into our redesign, and especially with the brand refresh as well. So how did the project end? So Elle?
Yeah, so honestly, we handed over our designs to Deepak. We walked through the project with him and provided a very detailed implementation document for the development team to work with. However, they've yet to start the development work and have only made some minor UI changes, which are already a really big step up from what they had originally or what we were given to work with. The last we've heard from the client is that his development team is still sitting on the development work for the entire website because of a number of reasons beyond his control. So we're really excited and looking forward to the changes that will hopefully change soon. So one thing we've definitely learned is that change doesn't happen overnight. There are some things that are beyond our and our clients' control, such as not having access to other stakeholders or encountering real-life disasters like landslides that affect communication between the client and his dev team. So in this situation, empathy does go a long way. We're really grateful to have this opportunity to work with VCN and to learn more about the valuable work that NGOs in Nepal have done to help these affected communities. It's important to keep in mind that at the end of the day, designing a good user experience can directly result in creating real positive impact on actual lives. Not to forget, it's really thanks to UX Rescue that this was made possible. VCN was also UX Rescue's very first project, like what Dahi's mentioned. So we're really thankful and glad to have been able to see it through end to end, almost. Before we go, just a reminder that we're accepting donations for VCN to help with their disaster relief. If you would like to donate, you can do so via UX Rescue's Buy Me a Coffee link and mention VCN in the comments. All donations will go straight to VCN to help more people in need. Thank you very, very much for listening to our case study. I think now we're open for questions. I see some in the Zoom chat already.
All right. Thank you, Elle, Aisha, Haq. Do you guys want to read the questions right from the chat?
Mm-hmm. So the first one was, how many survey participants did you have and where did you find participants for case studies? So for survey participants specifically, we had 20 responses. I think find participants for case studies, I'm not too sure what that specifically is, but participants generally, how we found them, through personal network, through VCN, a lot of them. Dahi was kind enough to post on the general Slack channel, and we got a lot of responses that way. Otherwise, it was definitely through all our personal networks. Yep. So then I hope that answered it. Next one would be question for each of us. What do you think was the most difficult part throughout the whole process? So Hacker L, you want to take it away?
Hak, you want to go ahead?
I think stakeholder management is important actually. Yeah, I think stakeholder management, like throughout the entire process, you know, you gotta you kind of have to temper expectations as well. So again, as we've highlighted, like I think for when you mention UX design, a lot of people tend to focus on the design part. So without without understanding that the research that goes into it, you know, the validation and all that. So I think so I think you kind of have to educate the client a little bit on the process, the UX process. Yeah. So L or Aisha.
Go ahead, Al.
Well, for me, I would say that in the UX writing process, it was really hard to understand fully what was required because it's also a little bit tied into stakeholder management because everything to Deepak is really important then, and it must be on the website. This is very important. That is also very important. So it was really about diving deeper into fully understanding what the needs of VCN was, and then writing it in a way that is um, comprehensible for everybody across various levels of English, because we have to keep in mind also that in Nepal, English is not their first language. So it is very, very important that we are able to translate their needs and put it on the website such that visitors to the website can understand what exactly it is and do whatever they can to help out those that are in need.
So for me, it's mirroring what both of them said. So initially, we did start out with a very robust research plan. So you're planning on conducting video interviews, full, 30-minute with each kind of person to really get down to like the details and stuff like that. But then we soon started realizing that the client did not have the appetite for that. And, it's really not, no one's at fault here. I think the thing is how familiar a specific client is with the process itself. So it's very natural for them to want to see very tangible results straight away. So for Deepak, it meant more, how does this affect my website directly? Can I see it? So for research, it takes a while to condense all of those and work on the design. So I think we had to adapt to research activities that would actually give quicker payoff and would be very focused on helping, do the IA of the website, for example. So yeah, that was a little bit difficult for us, for sure. Okay. So then the next question would be, what tools did you find most helpful throughout your research? So for the research tools, for the survey, I used Typeform. So I think through Dahi and UX Rescue, Typeform actually gave us a free, free upgraded account, if I'm not wrong. So we were able to use Typeform and all its logic tools because our survey had a lot of different branches. So we needed a tool that was able to actually funnel users to specific questions dependent on their answers. So this was really good. I do suggest taking a look at Typeform if you guys want to do surveys. And then for card sorting and tree testing, I've used the same tool I've used time and time again, Optimal Workshop. It is really the best tool out there for card sorting and tree testing. So yeah, we use that one. And then not to forget Google Sheets and slides. super simple tools, but they're actually very, very helpful. So we used Google Sheets for content audit, for competitive analysis. We also use slides for competitive analysis as well. So then, how was the participant recruitment process? Was it easy or difficult? Were you able to recruit the number of participants you were expecting for your different research methods? Good question. So the participant recruitment process definitely isn't easy. It takes a long time for you to collect the number of respondents, either at a minimum that you need or at a good amount that you would like. For the survey, we were able to get a good amount of responses. For the card sorting and tree testing, we actually took a long time to get the minimum of 5 participants replying on a specific thing. So that definitely wasn't easy. So if you guys are on a project and you need participants, start recruiting early and bug your friends, promise them coffee. That's how I got my participants in as well. So yeah. Anything you guys want to add to the recruitment stuff?
No.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I hope that answered that. The next one would be, if you could extend your deadline, which areas would you invest more time in? Research, UX writing, design, etc. Good question. Huck L, what do you guys think?
Okay, I think on the design side, I would actually invest more time in more testing and iterating actually, because I think there's a similar question at the end as well. So we did do, I think, 1 or 2 rounds of usability testing to validate the design, and then we made a few minor changes from there. But yeah, I think some definitely, if we could, because we were planning to actually do up more pages as well, such as the volunteering, the form for volunteering as well. So we wanted to test that, but like there wasn't much time, because especially since all of us are busy with our regular jobs as well. So yeah, so I would definitely invest more time in testing the prototypes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure about Elle or Aisha.
For me, I think the process of donation was something that I wish we had a bit more time to do some research on, because of the government regulations that Huck has mentioned just now. The donation flow was just one way through a particular channel. So it would have been great if we understood a little bit more about how we would have been able to widen the scope to bring in cash donations for VCN.
So from my end, in terms of research, I would have liked to conduct more exploratory research to understand what actually makes people like something like Volunteer Corps Nepal, because it's easier to understand why people donate or volunteer, but getting down to the minor details about what makes something like a volunteer organization in Nepal attractive specifically for people, that would have been really interesting for us to understand and implement to actually promote VCN to stand out from the 40,000 competitors. So that would be amazing if we had time for that. Yeah. Okay. So next question. When things were less than ideal, how did you determine which corners to cut and shortcuts to take? Good question. I think we hit on that in a previous one as well. So when we realized that, well, in terms of research, when we realized that the client did not have too much appetite for waiting for, long-term research to pay off, and they did want to see results quite quickly, we knew that we had to focus on research methods that would yield very tangible data. So things like a card sort or a tree test, you're able to show clients, hey, look, people don't understand that this belongs together. It's very clearly visible for them. And things like the competitive analysis, like Huck mentioned, that one really resonated with Deepak because he was able to look at all of these huge brand name competitors that, have global presence, and he's able to see how he can bring that the kind of standard they set into his own website. So that was really something that was good for him to look at. So yeah. What about you guys, El Huck? Okay. So I guess we'll move on to the next question. Can you show or tell us a little more about the process you went through for the card sort and tree analysis? For example, the visual you presented for the card sort, the grid with numbers, is new to me. So do you guys mind going back to that slide? I guess the card sort tree testing slide. Huck.
Sorry. Oh, go
Do
back
you
to the slide.
mind
Okay,
going
my
back to
bad.
the card sort?
Oh,
Yeah, no worries.
my bad. Let's
16.
see. Fifth cards. Okay. Here.
Yes, okay. So what you see there actually is something called a similarity matrix, like you can see. So what that tells us is how many people related two separate things together. So you can see disaster relief projects and development projects. It was related together 100% of the time. And people actually, for example, between volunteer destination information about Nepal and introduction about Volunteer Corps Nepal, it was kind of less related. So the percentage amount shown there, it actually tells you a lot about how people put two things together. So from simple things like organizing categories to putting content together, this sort of thing really helps. So this was from the card sort. From the tree test itself, you can see that by task thing over there. So with a tree test, what you do is you basically give people tasks. So we set out 3 tasks for users. So are they able to accomplish these 3 main things that we need them to do in order for the design to be considered successful, or the information architecture to be considered successful and easily usable? So of those 3 tasks, you can see there, orange probably meant that they took a detour somewhere, that they didn't directly go to the endpoint that we wanted them to. They took a detour. So this tool on optimal sort actually lets you see, hey, where did people go instead of the place we wanted them to? So you can try and understand why people might have done so from that. And you can see the red one is somebody had a direct failure. So where did they go instead of this? And should we add a link on that page to connect back? Was this a one-off thing? So that kind of stuff is very helpful there. I hope that helped. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
I think there is one more question about tree test card sorting. Like, did you do it online?
Yes, we did it online. So that optimal workshop tool is completely online. So you can get participants from all over the world to actually get on that platform. There's a live link that you can share with your participants and your friends to get them to do it. So yeah, it was a very useful online tool for us. Cool. So then in what programs did you capture and document your research? Typeform. So I think this was covered as well. These tools that we have here, like for example, Typeform, have very good, well, basic analysis tools. So it told us a lot about what kind of answers were most given and stuff like that. In terms of the optimal workshop tool, their analysis tools are much, much better. So they actually have, like you can see here, very detailed analysis of what happened during a card sort or a tree test. So this was enough for us. For the rest, we definitely used Google Sheets. It's a tool you can't go wrong with. It's simple. Everyone gets how to use it. So it was the best for us. Question for Huck. I know you guys said the stakeholder communication was spotty, but did you ever receive any comments throughout the design process? If so, how were your designs received?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, we were always in like constant communication with Deepak, our client. So when we first presented, I think he did have some comments as well, you know, for the first round of iteration as well. It's mainly positive actually. So I remember especially when we started showing the possibilities of all the interactions that that we've made, and the streamlining of the sitemap and all that. He had a really positive response to it. And I think there was one point where he was actually speechless once we showed him the brand refresh, because he never expected that his brand could go in that direction, in a more modern direction. So because he was really apprehensive about changing, even though he wanted to change, but he didn't actually want to change it as much. So we had to be really tactful about how we approach the design process. But once he saw that there are possibilities of expansion, uh, then I think he was really receptive. So I mean, the other feedback we got was from users, during usability testing. We tested on both the desktop uh, view and also the mobile view as well. So just to get a sensing of the usability issues that might come up during for both viewports basically. So yeah.
Thanks for that, Huck. So next question, did you do the card sort online? This was covered. Maybe one more useful thing I can mention, if you guys are going to use Optimal Workshop for your card sorts or tree tests, you can actually see how long someone took to do something. So that's actually something very useful that would be very difficult to get with in-person card sorts. So there's pros and cons there with the online tool. Yeah. So question, I think this one's for Huck. So that is just the single viewport.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is during the test for testing. So yeah, we did on desktop, and we did testing on both the desktop and the mobile view prototypes. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So last question, did you three work together and know one another prior to this project, or did UX Rescue put you together? So that was a very funny story. So we actually kind of all know each other from the General Assembly community, but we kind of didn't know we were going to work together until Dahi put us together. So I signed up with Dahi separately. I think Huck, I think I asked you to come over. And with Elle, she actually joined independently, and we were all put together on the same project. So that was really cool.
Yeah. So so at that point, me and Aisha and I, we were actually colleagues. We were instructional associates for the UX bootcamp in General Assembly. So when she pulled me in, and then I agreed to it, and then I found out Elle because I knew Elle from uh, as well. So like it was a good surprise to see that the three of us were working together on the same project.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where are you all located in the world? So no, this wasn't actually answered, Marianne. We're all in Singapore. That was, again, pure coincidence. Yep. So yeah, we're all here in Singapore. So question about collaboration. How often did you meet to discuss the project, and how did you coordinate with the different time zones? Is there a program that helped with that? So we did not face this issue because we're all in the same country, but we did meet regularly. We met every week once to discuss the project, and sometimes that would align with us meeting Deepak, our stakeholder as well from VCN. So we would make sure we'd meet every week at least one time. And we kept other communication channels open as well. So we communicated through, for example, Telegram or Slack to keep in touch about all those smaller details. Yeah. Cool. I think, is there any more other questions? Feel free to post it or unmute yourselves and ask.
I'm gonna add on to the last questions. It was a funny coincidence, and at the time we were working together. They're obviously in Singapore, and I was in Australia. Now I'm in Korea, but I'll be having the meeting with them, and then they'll be having a dinner together, and be in a weekly check-in with me. So it was a bit of tease for me on the other side, and I was just like, I want to be there, and they're just like, I see the three screens, but it's all from the same restaurant, and then they weren't even facing themselves. So like, Elle would be showing me Hak would be showing me Aisha, Aisha would be showing me Elle, and I'm just like, what kind of tease is this? So it was a really fun project. And then adding on to That was really, really nice. Adding on to the collaboration part, even though this project was very special, like in a way that, you know, they were all in the same country, we do have in UX Rescue a lot of projects that has like, I think the worst was 12 time zones. We had one project that has 12 different time zones. So in that case, we use different tools like Let Us Meet to schedule meeting, or Time Buddy, Slack, Notion. So we use all different time zones to manage with different people in, you know, all over the world. And I have a question for you guys, for all of you. What was the biggest learning while you're working on this project with UX Rescue?
So for me, it was adaptability, being able to try and understand different perspectives and adapt your efforts to make sure that everyone understands what we're doing, everyone sees that there's progress and is happy with it. So yeah, that was the main learning for me.
I guess for me, uh, clients aren't so different regardless of location in the world. So yeah. Yeah, that was interesting to find out actually. So yeah.
For me, I had a lot of learnings. I'm the most junior out of the three of us, or rather the four of us, with Dahi included. So it was great to observe and learn from the three seniors on how they do things, how they manage responses in certain situations, and yeah, I think this has been super valuable for me, especially when I'm pretty new in this field. I've just been in this field for a little over a year. So this has been really great for me.
Any other questions from the audience? All right. Thank you so much, you guys. And I just want to say that like I said, VCN was the very first UX Rescue project, and as all the UX practitioners know, everything is just continuous iteration. So thank you, VCN, for giving me such a good baseline to work on. And I know that some of you guys in the audience are currently on the project, and then you guys probably see the huge difference from how VCN worked and then how you guys are working right now. So keep an eye out on our future meetups, because we'll be talking more about how things have changed and how we are working on developing processes, improving on stakeholder management side. We are doing something about that. We're doing something about collaboration across different time zones, as I mentioned. And then also we are trying to bring more people in who have less experience. And then we're trying to find more people with experience, so that, you know, people with less experience get to actually see, observe, and practice, and people with more experience really get to practice on their leadership skill and the mentoring skills. I think there is one question from Daniel, all about how those guys are who are new to. So yeah, Daniel, that's a really good question around how the newbies to UX Rescue can get involved in UX Rescue project. So if you haven't, if you go to the UX Rescue website, uxrescue.org, and also the taglines came from the VCN team as well. So thank you guys for that. If you look at the website, you guys are gonna see a link to fill out the application. So once you do that, you can join the Slack channel, and then we post new projects or new opportunities on upcoming projects channel on our Slack. So from there, you fill out the application following the template that's there. And then from there, we screen people based on application, and we interview people, and then we have them on board based on the roles that they express interest in, or they show the better fit in. So that's how we involve people. All right. Tim, do you guys have anything you'd like to share? Anything you'd like to say to the audience?
I think thank you very much for this opportunity, especially Dahi, for creating this possibility for us to actually get involved with a small charity who would not have been able to afford services like this otherwise. So it's been a really great experience.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it's been a really awesome experience. I think for those who actually do want to join in on UX rescue projects, like I think you really have to remember that at the end of the day, you are actually improving other people's lives as well. You know, as compared to working in your regular job, in a product company, or where you try to meet KPIs or anything. But here we are actually trying to improve lives for the better. Hopefully through a better user experience for the end users. So yeah, that's yeah.
For me, if I would have to say, if you're starting out in UX and you're feeling quite alone and you don't know whether what you're doing is right and you just want people to work with, I think doing pro bono work is a great way to get started, to have access to people that may have been in the field a bit longer. And it's a great learning platform, and also for your own network and meeting up with people eventually and creating these connections eventually. When COVID's over, we can all start flying again. We can even meet up in different parts of the world. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity.
All right, thank you everyone. And just one last time, VCN is doing absolutely amazing work, literally saving lives. They've been putting together the test stations for the COVID who can get tested for the COVID because of the, not enough financial support, anything like that. So if you guys can just save 1 or 2 coffees and then donate $5, $10, $15 to VCN through Buy Me a Coffee, and I will do the hard part, which is the wire transfer, and then make sure that VCN get all the money. So yeah, just think about that. Casey, thanks for sharing that link on the chat, and I will see you guys somewhere else. And thank you everyone for being here today. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.